What a career Dustin Poirier had. One of the all-time greats of the lightweight division, beat some of the very best like Conor McGregor, Max Holloway, Justin Gaethje, Eddie Alvarez, etc. Dustin Poirier, even though he's never won an undisputed title, I don't think he necessarily needs it for his legacy to be significant. To be in the Hall of Fame or to be regarded as a legend, they usually need to win a belt, right? But the thing about Dustin was, when he was trying to get that lightweight belt and he had multiple title shots, he literally had to go against the three best fighters to ever fight in that division. First, it was with Khabib, who was seemingly unstoppable during his reign. Then it was against Charles Oliveira, the greatest finisher in UFC history. Then it was against one of the most skilled fighters we've ever seen in Islam Makhachev. But to get that far in your career, to fight for the title 3 times, although the last one wasn't the necessarily most deserving if we're going to be honest, even getting to a title twice, shows that Dustin was a great fighter. And he just fought Max Holloway for the 3rd time. The final score between them two is 2-1. First fight was when they were very new to the UFC. Second fight was Dustin in his prime. Max wasn't fully prepared for lightweight, and you see the difference in power that he has when he's actually prepared. And in the third fight, although Dustin looked very good out there, it wouldn't be accurate to say that he was in his prime, right? He did seem slower out there, and he didn't have as much success as he did in the second fight. Well, he did drop Max, which was something he was never able to do before, but he didn't have as many moments in this one. Now, the reason for that was because he was a lot more pressuring in the second. He was the hammer, and Max was a nail for a lot of that. But why didn't he fight like that as much in this one? It's because of 3 different reasons. Number 1, Dustin's not in his prime anymore, right? The second fight was a prime Dustin. He's not as fast as he was. He's not as good as he was overall. But that still doesn't completely negate his ability to move forward and pressure Max, right? To bring the fight to him. He could still do that. The second reason why he didn't fight like that as much is because Max Holloway was constantly countering his aggression with the right body kick. He would even throw it hopping backwards with it. Very Taekwondo-like. A very effective technique. It's keeping Dustin at range, and when Dustin's throwing punches at the head, he's opening up the body because both arms are not there to block against the kick. Now the third reason, and probably the most important, is that he felt Max's power in the first round. Max Holloway landed a right straight through the center. When Dustin's going for that high elbow guard, Max throws a long left hook as a distraction, and it got Dustin to rotate his stance to the side. His left hand is up to his head, and right elbow was up as well. Max had a clear shot through the center, fired that right straight, and dropped Dustin Poirier. When Dustin got hit by that shot, he was probably thinking, who is this guy I'm fighting? This is not Max Holloway. Last time I fought Max, he didn't hit this hard. He's a different fighter when he's prepared for 55, in which he wasn't in the second fight against Dustin. It just goes to show that Max's power is so different at 55. I think he's a better fighter there because the thing that he lacked at 45 was this type of power. He would hit guys like 300 or 400 times and they just don't go away. Sometimes they don't even get dropped. That is not the same thing if they're fighting Maximus Holloway at 55. So he hurt Dustin with that right straight and then later followed up with a left uppercut that landed flush on the jaw, and that sat Dustin on the ground as well. You can see the look in Dustin's eye. He's like, yo, this is not the same guy I fought last time. To give Max a lot of credit, he did fix some of his holes from the second fight. For an example, when Dustin was moving forward with that shift combination, he was very successful at that in the second fight. Switching stances, throwing a punch to distract Max, and then landing big with an overhand. Because Max before liked to move away in long strides, long distances to get away from his opponent. So Dustin took advantage of that by shifting forward in long strides and landing powerful shots. In this fight though, Dustin tried the same thing. Dustin would shift forward, throwing that left straight to distract Max for his follow-up right overhand. So he takes a long step forward after the switch, and Max hops away, giving Dustin the look that he's going to move away in those long strides, just like he did in the second fight, but this time he ducks after. Dustin's throwing the overhand, it goes over Max's head, and he does not see the counter from Max. He throws the overhand, forearm hitting across the face. And throughout the fight, Max made that adjustment from the second fight to this one of lining up that right straight against that Philly shell and high elbow guard that Dustin likes to go to. He would even feint to the body first before firing out that right straight to the head. Just a much better Max than before. Max Holloway had probably the best display of attacking the body I've ever seen in the UFC. From straight rights to the body to hopping backwards with the right kick, intercepting the forward movement of Dustin, which he did throughout the entire fight, except right after he hurt him in the second round. He decided to stand still in front of Dustin there. But he was using that move throughout the rest of the fight, and usually trying to evade Dustin's aggression with better positioning to counterpunch, sometimes mixing in multiple punch combinations or attacking the body. But even when he countered with those combos, he exited away on an angle to return to the center of the octagon, showing way better ring generalship. As Dustin didn't cut off the cage too well, Max had almost the entire control of the octagon. And another technique Max was using to keep Dustin away from pressuring him is also that low side kick to the knee, and usually hopped forward with it. That move usually created distance between him and Dustin. Now Dustin was very effective when Max was standing his ground more. He was there to be hit, he stopped moving, stopped using his footwork, and was looking to exchange with Dustin in moments. That's where he started to get hit by some of those big shots. especially in the second round. And that all happened after Max hurt Dustin in the second round first. I don't know if it's because Max started to get tired and needed a breather, that's why he didn't move as much, or he was overconfident in his power standing in front of Dustin, because that seemed to not be his game plan. His game plan seemed to be to move around as much as he can and counter with the right kick, as well as ducking under the shift combo. And whenever Dustin is lax, then start firing out the combinations, especially to line up the right straight to the body and to the head, knowing that Dustin's going to go with the high elbow guard or the Philly shell. He went away from that after he hurt Dustin in the second, picked his guard up and stood in front of him. Dustin lands a right hook around the guard and then a left straight through the center, trying to follow up with the right hand after. And then in another exchange, Dustin throws a left straight, Max stands his ground and slips on the outside of the punch, throws a counter left hook, right straight that misses, and then a left hand that goes over the head. And then again, Max is standing in front of Dustin, leaning forward. Dustin switches stances and throws his left hand forward. This is usually the signal for Max to either duck low or hop backwards with the kick, exactly like he did before. But he doesn't do that. He allows Dustin to shift forward, and instead Max exchanges with him, throws a left hook of his own, then takes a right straight off the side of his head, dropping him. So when he went for the guillotine to wrap up his career with the perfect move, some people were saying that Dustin threw away the fight instead of going for ground and pound, but he did land some ground and pound shots, like 4 devastating elbows on top. I think Max was going to recover regardless, and I don't think Dustin was able to finish him there. But then again, who knows if Dustin accumulated more damage with that ground and pound instead of the guillotine? How would Max come out in the third round? Would he be hurt and Dustin can just follow up and continue his offense? Or would it have been the same? Hindsight's 2020. Dustin's done this before. He's went for guillotines before, and it's usually hurt him in fights. Against Benoit Saint Denis, against Khabib, it only put him in a worse position that he had to put extra work to get out of. The hand speed was impeccable too. This jab and straight he threw here were so incredibly fast in real time. Even though neither of them landed, it was like Dustin felt he got hit or something with how fast those punches flew out there. He didn't even get slower moving up a division. He's as fast as ever, highly skilled, has versatile striking, and delivers with more power. This is the best Max Holloway. And it just makes you think, man, what if he made that switch years ago? And he wants to fight Ilia Topuria, but he had a good performance against Dustin. Ilia's a different beast. I mean, Max had a 10-second brawl with Dustin, and Dustin threw down with Max. He threw like 3 punches and then clinched up. As soon as he felt the speed of Max, he's like, oh no, I am not becoming a highlight reel. I am not going to become Justin Gaethje. In my hometown, on my card, that is not happening. I'm clinching up with this guy. After Max knocked out Justin Gaethje and made Dustin Poirier, one of the best boxers in the sport, clinch up with him. Just how savage is Ilia Topuria when he welcomed Max in the beginning of the fight, not at the end of it. He wanted to trade with him where they both have a full tank of gas, and Max didn't want to do it with Ilia. There are levels to this. Ilia is just different. But all in all, it was a great fight. Dustin performed well, although he didn't look as good as he was. Definitely slower than the second time they fought. But he had an absolute amazing career, man. The Conor McGregor rivalry was so insane. The Max Holloway rivalry was insane. The 2 fights with Eddie Alvarez, the 2 fights with Justin Gaethje. I mean, this guy's fought some of the best in the sport multiple times. It's so insane. And he gave Islam Makhachev such a good fight when everybody thought that Islam was going to make the fight easy. So yeah, amazing career from Dustin Poirier. He's done amazing things inside the octagon and outside the octagon with his charity and all that stuff. One of the good guys in the sport, one of the most exciting fighters we've ever seen. Thank you, Dustin Poirier, and congrats on an amazing career. Now about Max Holloway, who does he fight next? Well, Max has inserted himself in the group of Arman Tsarukyan, Justin Gaethje, and Paddy Pimblett, as those are the only other fighters who are on the cusp of a title shot. And honestly, him beating Dustin pretty much ruins Justin Gaethje's chances of fighting for a belt. He needs to fight someone else 100% now. Now there's no way he gets a title shot over Max. Not just because he lost to him, but the only real big win that Gaethje's riding on for a title shot is that he beat Dustin. But now that Max beat him and Dustin, it doesn't matter, even though he lost to Ilia already. I think all 4 of these guys should be fighting each other. You could do Arman versus Max and then Paddy versus Gaethje. You could do Max versus Paddy and then Arman versus Gaethje. Or you could do Max versus Arman. Those are the only matchups I think make sense. And as for like Charles Oliveira, I think he should fight Dan Hooker. I wish though some of these guys fought more regularly because Paddy's last fight was in April. That was over 3 months ago, sure. I mean, it'll be great for him to have a scheduled fight, perhaps in a month or 2. That would be great. But Paddy is like 300 pounds at the moment. Get 3 or 4 fights a year would be amazing. But none of these guys have a fight. And the longer they wait, the more likely one of them is going to fight Ilia before they fight each other. And if Ilia is going to fight first, it should be against Arman. Then you could do Max versus Paddy. And then Gaethje goes and fights someone else. I don't know. The fact that these guys fight like once or twice a year, it's holding back the division. Paddy fought in April, has no scheduled fight. Gaethje fought in March, has no scheduled fight, and doesn't plan to either. Arman fought in April of last year and has no scheduled fight. And he said he wants to fight. He was supposed to fight Islam in January. He was injured, but listening to his interviews, it seems like he's fine now. So it looks like one of them is going to fight Ilya at the end of the year or early next year. The rest of the lightweights at the top are going to have to fight each other. I don't know who they're going to pick for Ilya to fight. I think it should be Arman. They might go with Paddy or Gaethje. I mean, there is a possibility though that Ilya waits for Islam because Islam's most likely fighting in like October, is it? And Dana said he's interested in that fight. So man, these guys need to get fighting because if Ilya's waiting for Islam and he doesn't fight the top lightweights first, they should be getting into these fights quickly. Paddy Pimblett is still out of shape. Arman apparently wants to fight, but nobody wants to fight him. Gaethje just doesn't want to fight anybody unless it's for the title or a lot of money. The lightweight division is pretty slow these days, but hopefully Max fights more regularly than the others. And what do you guys think about the lightweight division and Dustin Poirier's retirement? What did you guys think of the fight? Did you enjoy it? A lot of people are giving Dustin flack about the last 10 seconds. He didn't throw down with Max, and everybody thought he would be the guy that would, right? Him and Gaethje, these are the guys who would be exchanging with Max at the end of the fight. Gaethje did, and he got knocked out for it. Dustin felt a few punches, and he opted out quickly. So I don't know. It was a great fight before. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did, make sure to give it a like. Make sure to subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and I'll see you guys in